everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and today I'm bringing you my June wrap-up of all of the books that I ended up reading this month. Once I went away for my TBR, my book count started to increase. So I've kind of made the decision that I'm not going to create specific TBRs because it just apparently is just too limiting for me. And then I don't typically read the books on it. So that is kind of how that's going to go, and just kind of an update. So I won't do a monthly TBR update, but I will be trying to do at least either a weekly or bi-weekly wrap up of what I've read for those either that week or those 2 weeks. This was actually inspired by the Nerdy Narrative, her channel. I believe her name is Leslie, but it is the Nerdy Narrative channel. I will leave her channel link down below if you're curious about her. If you have not heard about her, she's awesome. She's full of energy, and I love a lot of the content that she does. So this is kind of an inspiring way of doing a wrap-up, but not being a monthly and tied into a specific TBR. That's how kind of I'm broaching it. But anyways, got a loose hair that is driving me bonkers. Alright, so let's get into the books that I actually did finish, and there are a total of 11 books. So about at my goal. I typically do 8 to 10, so this time is 11, but again, as soon as I moved away from that TBR, I started really getting a lot of books read. And I also started focusing no more than 3 books at a time, and when I found that one, I finished the one that grabbed hold of me out of those 3. And then I worked my way through the others, and then I added more in. Alright, so enough of all of that jazz. So the most recent book that I finished today, which is actually June the 30th, the very last day of this month. And this video probably go up, of course, next month, but early on, so you'll actually be able to see it. So the first book that I ended up, first book I'm going to talk about, the last book that I read for this month. This is Breath of Fire. This is the Kingmaker Chronicles series. It's the second book. I really did enjoy it. I did finish it again on June the 30th. This continues the story of Griffin and Kat. I absolutely love Kat's sense of humor. Just taking different quotes and different things on a new app that Peace Love in Books, I think is her channel name. She talked about Basma, or I think is how you say that app, and I've been taking a lot of images and quotes as I've read. I love this character. She is hysterical. This has a lot of kind of Greek mythology kind of wrapped into the story. It is a romance fantasy, or fantasy romance, however you want to talk about it. It is so good. The interactions between Griffin and Kat are hysterical. Seeing her become into her destiny of what she is supposed to do has been really eye-opening, and how the gods are playing a part in that, from Zeus and Poseidon to Artemis and all that, and her coming to accept who she is and what her destiny really is, because she was afraid since a little girl of a prophecy that she is supposed to fulfill, and she's been terrified of that. Family dynamics, family drama, it has been great. So I cannot wait to read. I think it's only 3 books in this trilogy. I don't think it's going to be a full series, but I will know when I finish the last book, which I do have, and I do plan on picking up soon. So yes, I would highly recommend Amanda Boschette. If you have not read her work, I definitely would pick up the Kingmaker Chronicles. I've absolutely loved it. This is the first series I've read from her, and I do want to look into other things written by this author. 5-star, absolutely. Alright, the next book that I have read this month, this is Any Luck at All by A.R. Casella and Denise Grover Swank. This book, I believe, came in my Reveal book box. This is the romance subscription box I get every month. I really did enjoy it. It, again, is a light-hearted, I guess you would call it more of like a chick lit type of book. It was very sweet, very cute. I really did enjoy. Her name was Georgie, And then the love interest was River. Again, a lot of family drama going on between her siblings, and her father, who is a jerk. He is not a nice man. They inherit a brewery, and then it's about them all trying to come together to get this brewery back up and running. And the love interest, a lot of betrayal going on, secrets kept, all of that. It made for a great read. I believe I either gave it a 4 or 5 stars, but highly would recommend, and I would definitely think about looking into other books by this author. Again, new author to me from the book box that I get, the Reveal book box. It is a romance subscription if you haven't seen some of that, those unboxings. I think I have 1 or 2 up on my channel. I know there was 1 month that I didn't get to because a lot of stuff went on, a lot of sadness going on in that particular month, so I did not end up posting that video because I was not with it and just couldn't do it. But I have another one that should be coming up either on my channel already or will by the time this video comes up. So I'll link those videos below if you're interested in seeing that unboxing and what comes in it. Again, another series that I have absolutely loved. I ended up getting this series in a box off of eBay. It was an urban fantasy box that just random books were in. I got 2 books out of this series in that particular box. Fell in love with this character, and I've been continuing reading out of that series. I think there are like 19 books in that series. But this is the Tangled Threads. I believe this is the 4th book of the series out of the 19. This follows Jen Blanco. She is an assassin. This deals with elementals like earth, fire, water, or ice, this form of water, and air, and then there's some sub elementals as well, like electricity and metal and those types of things. So again, she is a retired assassin, but she is being pitted against, or she's pitting herself against Mab Monroe because Mab ended up killing her family when she was a little girl. She ends up being raised to be an assassin. She's really good at it, but she's retired now, or is trying to be retired. It's not going that well for her because a lot of people in the city of Asheville are being preyed upon by Mab, and she's more or less being enlisted to try to help them, kind of like a modern day elemental Robin Hood, if you want to take it that route. But it is so good. She is a spunky character. She is sarcastic. She's witty. I love her. Those are the type of heroines that I fall in love with, who are strong women, but also will accept help if she needs it. She's not bullheaded enough not to do it on her own if she knows she can't. And I love how she sticks up for all of the people that she's in love with. So yeah, I love this series. If you've not read this series by Jennifer Estep, you need to do it. It's great. If you're into the urban fantasy, there is a little bit of romance here or there, but that's not the main focus of the story. The other drama and mystique is what it's about, and the revenge against Mab Monroe. So yes, that's starting to pick up really fast, and I'm enjoying the ride so much. And I think I have the 5th book ready in line that I'll probably tackle next month. Alright, so the next book that I completed for June, this is Ariel, Always Enough by Danielle Norman. This again is another book from the Reveal book box. I love this one. This is again about a girl. She feels like she is never enough for people, so she's determined to stay single, so she's not heartbroken anymore. In comes, what is this? Kaysen, and helps her out, does a lot of things to help her. I believe, yeah, this is the Iron Orchids. It's part of a series, the Iron Orchids series. Again, it's her. She's, again, trying to find herself. She falls kind of for a deputy, Kaysen Christoph, who actually saves her. And that's starting to coming back to me now. Again, she was at the mall picking up a gift or something. I can't remember exactly why she was at the mall. She was leaving it, and then these 2 hoodlums, they jump out at her, tries to kidnap her. They ended up slamming her into a car, and she is crying out for help. the off-duty Kaysen is there, deputy, I think he's a deputy, and I believe so. And he, you know, chases them off. He stays with her till the ambulance gets there. There's some miscommunication when she's in the hospital because he's very interested in her. He comes from a Greek family and they're all about that. So a lot of kind of interesting dynamics going on because she is not Greek herself, and that kind of plays a part into it later. And then a past or ex of hers, he's in the background doing some weird things. So yeah, he wants her back. She doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and a lot of that kind of spirals out into this story. I believe, again, I gave it a 4 to 5 star rating on it because, again, it's a sweet, heartwarming, a little bit traumatic in certain areas of the book, but it was a great read. I am interested in continuing the Iron Orchids, which is their motorcycle game that they are trying to put together, or club of different walks, people from different walks of life are kind of joining in. So yes, I'm interested in reading more by this author, especially out of this series, and we'll see after I hopefully get some of my other series done, I can pick more up from her because it was very intriguing. Okay, so the very first book out of the series, apparently I read 2 of these in 1 month. This is the first book out of the Kingmaker Chronicles. This is A Promise of Fire, so it's the first book out of the trilogy. Again, this is where Griffin finds Kat because she's hiding away in a circus. He kidnaps her or forces her to go with them. It's about them getting to know each other. Again, it is with Greek mythology interwoven into this series. Fantasy romance is how they come together. What his goals are for the new realm that he has just conquered and set his sister up on the throne. So yeah, it's great. Again, their interactions between her, him, the beta team, it's great. Again, cannot highly recommend this series enough. I cannot wait to get into the 3rd book and see how it wraps up. But yeah, this is the first book, their first interactions, how they go on. Again, secrets play a huge part in this. Kind of feelings of betrayal coming through. They do have some steamy love scenes in it if that's not in for you. But again, this is a fantasy romance, so it is a little bit of more kind of a balance between the 2 elements. But it is great. I absolutely love their interactions. I die laughing so much. And in the 2nd book, I forgot to tell you, in Breath of Fire, first chapter and a half, I cried. Most of the time I'm dying laughing, but Amanda Bochette, she is really good about piercing your heart at certain times in the books, in the stories, and I literally was just tears. I wasn't sobbing, but the tears were just pouring out of my eyes. I was constantly wiping them. That is awesome. When I can find an author that can hit my emotions that way, from being happy to being angry to being sad, all of that, that to me is a great sign of a 5-star author, and I love when that happens because I do not cry very often. Okay, this I believe is the 3rd, so it looks like I'm going backwards. What I finished at the end of the month, going back to what I finished at the start of the month. Alright, so this is Venom. Again, this is back by Jennifer Estep, the Elemental Assassin book. This is book 3. This is Venom. This is where, again, following Jen Blanco, she is having some interactions with Owen, getting over her crush from the previous couple of books of Donovan, who just could not accept her for who she was, broke her heart, and now enters another kind of love interest, Owen. And then another detective takes his place because he just leaves because he knows if he stays he's going to be compromising his morals, and he didn't want to do that, so he left. Another detective comes in to take his place. Again, the Asheville Police Department is very corrupt. A lot of payouts from Mab. She's taken that over so she doesn't get busted for a lot of the activities that she does. And then also, I believe this one deals with I think also where she's going after Slater. I don't think Talus is a different. There was one of Mab's giants does her a beat down on her, tries to do a lot of different things to some other people, stalks a nightclub owner, kidnaps her, and she goes out and protects them. So yeah, this is a great, like I said, a great series. There's a lot of kind of moral gray areas. She lives by her own code. Again, I cannot highly recommend this series enough. Alright, this is Go to My Grave. I believe this is from my Thrill Club. This is by Catriona McPherson. Not where I thought this book was going to go. There's a mystery that is trying to be solved or to come out. It's a very messed up family. I think, again, most of these books I gave around 4 to 5 stars. There's really not any bad books that I've read this month. But I think this is a 4 or 5 star rating, I believe is what I gave it on Goodreads. Again, it is a very messed up family dynamic going on here, very dysfunctional. A lot of things came out, a lot of mysterious things were happening, things would appear, things would disappear. You don't know if it's a ghost or if someone's playing tricks on them. A lot of things went on. I was not expecting everything to go on that did and all of the connections that were made. At the end, the only thing, I think I gave it a 4 star rating now that I remember. The only thing that I didn't care for is that the ending was kind of anticlimactic and it just sort of ended. Because everything was going, you would think it's going to have this pow ending and it just kind of fizzled. So that's about the only thing with this one. Otherwise, it was a great read. Once I got into it, it was in the time of the month where I was just very down. So I started it. It took a while to read it just because of my mental state that I was in at the time due to, again, some traumatic things that went on in my life with my pup, Jester. So I did eventually pick it back up. It was a good read. A lot of things went on. Just a trigger warning if this is for you. A trigger warning, there is sexual abuse of children or young teens, I guess, or almost teens. Went on. That does come out. It doesn't go into the details about it. It is just hinted around. The way the author talks about it, it's in a tasteful manner. But if that is a trigger warning for you, this may not be the book for you, or it may be when you, if you do choose to read it and discover how everything is resolved. So overall, highly recommended it. It is a good book. Again, the ending was a lot blah. Didn't care for that part. But otherwise, the rest of the story was very well woven together. Alright. If you've been on my channel, you know that I have been enjoying Jennifer L. Armentrout's A Blood and Ash series. This is the 3rd book out of the series, The Crown. No, this is the... Yeah, this is the 3rd book. Yeah, 3rd book. The 2nd book was The Flesh and Fire. Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, I believe. So this is the 3rd one. This is The Crown of Gilded Bones. Oh my gosh. 5 star. Absolutely. Hands down. Again, Poppy is another very sarcastic, strong, headstrong at a lot of times character. I love her sense of humor. Her and, not Hawk, that was his original, Castile. Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Poppy and Castile's interactions are hysterical. A lot of kind of humorous, kind of to relieve a lot of tension going on. Again, this is an author. You make a lot of theories about what's going on, why it's going on. Some things pan out, others do not. In this one, she, again, is picking up pretty much where it left off in the 2nd book. They are to be getting, I cannot speak. Again, they're going to be married and taking over the kingdom. A lot of surprising things went on in here. She does seem to be accepted by both the mother and the father of Castiles, which are Atlanteans. Almost right off the bat, the mother gives over the crown. The father is a little bit more hesitant. He really still wants to go to war with the other kingdom to avenge the son. A lot of surprising things happened, and she ends up pretty much going on the war path to get Castile back from the other kingdom. So I'm not going to go into too much detail. I cannot wait. I know there is another book. It's a prequel and actually a start of another series, kind of the prequel to this one. But it's going to, I think, be a series on its own, and then the 4th book will come out in the following year, so I cannot wait to continue this. When that happens, I think I've already pre-ordered the book, so I cannot wait to continue that series. Alright, we're getting almost to the end of these 11 books. Alright, so this is Forevermore by Frankie Page. Again, this is kind of a childhood love that was never realized, and it goes on until they are adults. One moves away and then comes back. He is wanted to be a photographer, a travel photographer, so he goes around, he chases his dreams. She pretty much, makes him go because she says she doesn't want him to feel like she's holding him back. So she kind of makes him go live his dream. A tragedy happens in her family. He comes back, and then sparks again fly from there. So sweet. I am debating again getting more from the series because this is the start of the series. I don't remember what it is called off the top of my head, but if I get, like I said, more of my series completed, then I will look into this series. Alright, the last 2 books, woohoo! Alright, so again, this is from another of my revealed book box, the romance. This is Flirting with 40. Again, this is a woman. This is dealing with Blakely and Slade Henderson. So Blakely Fox and Slade Henderson. She is approaching 40. He is younger than her. This is, again, I took this on vacation at the beginning of the month. This is one of the ones that I read up there while I was gone. But kind of the synopsis of this one, she's recently divorced. Her then husband basically traded her in for a younger model, which is ironic because he looks just like her, just younger. She is fighting for a promotion, well-deserved promotion at her work. I think it's the VP of not sales, but creating the ideas for the products, that part of the company. And then her new younger boss, or over sales, basically has it in for her, doesn't trust her, or is putting doubt of the rest of the employees on her, trying to make her seem petty, because she is so knowledgeable of the company, what it is that they're looking for, and basically tries to sabotage her. She ends up meeting Slade. He's kind of a buffer and helps her to be more confident in herself, and going after and getting what she wants, which is the promotion. Because they go on, I think they're supposed to go on a retreat, he pretends to be her boyfriend. All of that happens from a chance meeting between those two and her ex. It's a very cute story. I think I gave it a 4 to 5 star rating for it. Again, none of these books are bad. It was just a great story. Again, if you're looking for a heartwarming, sweet romance, this would go up into that, definitely. So I did enjoy it, and I've been really enjoying, I think, over 90% of the books. I think there's only one book that I DNF'd when I tried it out of the Reveal book box, because I just couldn't follow the dialogues and who was speaking. That was a whole nother book, which I still need to do that. Books that I've DNF'd so far over the last few months. But that's a whole nother video. Let's try to focus and finish out. Alright, the very last book that I have read, this is a group that I joined. This is an Ember in the Ashes. This is a series. I think there are 4 books in the series. So I read this with another group. Again, it is a fantasy. Good. It was very violent. The people in here, the people in charge, the marshals, they are very cruel people. They have enslaved and oppressed the scholars. She is a scholar. It doesn't play around. It throws you right in. Immediately you learn everything as you go. So there's not a lot of info dumping. You experience the world as, what is her name? Leia, I think is how you say her name. Her brother is put into prison. She goes and tries to find the resistance. A lot of shady things go on. She ends up being a spy for them in agreement for the resistance to free her brother. The marshals are very cruel. They, especially the commandant, oh my God, that woman is a piece of work. She was so very well written. It's creepy, scary how well that person is. There's no way of liking that character at all. I do wonder in her past what created her to be how she is. I do wonder about that. I don't know if the series ever addresses that, or if she was just born naturally that way. Again, that whole nature versus nurture type of deal, because the marshals are not warm and fuzzy people. Yeah. So, and then she also meets Elias, who is a student at the Blackcliff, or I think it's Blackcliff. I think that's what the academy is called. And he's a student there. He's graduating from that. He doesn't want to be there. He has negative feelings. He wants to desert, which is if you desert before you graduate or even after you graduate, it's pretty much signing your death warrant. So there's a lot of going on, and you experience his point of view. So it's told from both Leia's and Elias's points of view. So cruel. The trials that he goes through, and to him pit against 3 other graduates from this academy. They are vying to become the next emperor. That is some cruel stuff going on there as well. There's nothing nice about this world. It is very, very daunting. Not quite the apocalyptic, but it is very oppressive. And yeah, there's, yeah. So I'm waiting. Like I said, I need to get some other books read, but I do want to pick up the second book because we are reading it as a group. So in this upcoming month, I will put it on my sometime in the month to read and pick up the second book. But yeah, Ember in the Ashes is awesome. The blurb on the back doesn't do as much justice as what's going on, and then these augurs are so creepy, and then there's also some paranormal, some other things going on in the world, and I can't wait to see how that shapes up. So if you've not read it or you've been interested in it, I would highly recommend. There are a lot of cringe-worthy moments in it, but it is amazing to watch this very naive girl come into her own and at the end stand up and get some stuff done. So that has been a pleasure to have read about. So it's good. So I highly recommend that. A lot of these books I would recommend. They are good. They are, you know, some kind of lighthearted romances, fantasy romances, just fantasy in general, a little bit of kind of a mystery horror. I think I only have really one of those this time around. So yeah, that it has been my month. I hope, leave me some comments down below if you've read any of these authors, any of these books. What are you most interested in picking up? If you were to pick up any of the books, let me know down below. I would love to hear your thoughts about that. But anyways, give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and until my next one, I hope you have a good one. Bye guys.